Scoot.
Yeah, social media has been cracking me up. All these basketball messiahs out there. Scoot's a bust. He can't shoot. Really? So you know after 4 games what a guy's career is going to be? Get out of here. It's total rubbish, all right? You got to check yourself sometimes. I have to check myself sometimes. 4 games? And you're trying to tell me what a guy is? I'm going to tell you again. And no, I do not speak for Jody. Look, I'm not down with Jody or Bert. All right? Clown show. I wish someone would take the clown hammer to them, like preferably Commissioner Silver, and get the team in the hands of Phil Knight. That's what I want. So, no, I'm not. No, no one ever reaches out and says, Chad, you need to say this for the team. I just tell you what I think. I'm not worried about Scoot at all. No, 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 no. 4 games, youth, team without a lot of continuity, new faces. Coaching staff's laying a foundation for both ends of the floor. They don't have the best player in Anthony Simons. The list goes on and on. It's not excuses. That's just the reality of where they're at. And Coach Billups has not exactly been putting him in a position to succeed. I have a good idea. Let's take a true point guard that needs the ball in his hands and just have him sit out on the perimeter and jack up threes. Sounds like a good plan to me. No, they've got to continue to work to put him in a position to succeed, period. And even as rough as it's been in the start for Mr. Scoot Henderson, they got their first win, and of the 4 games, that was his best performance. Foul issues continue to be a problem. He fouled out. The officials couldn't care less who he is or how great he thinks he is or what his name is. They don't give the benefit of the doubt to rookies. He finished with 11 points, 7 assists, had a couple of steals, 4 turnovers, 6 fouls, and was 4 of 12 from the field. Not a great start, but I'm not concerned. This is going to take some time, and I think we'll just see incremental growth as time goes on. What I like about him is his attitude and approach. He's not hanging his head. He's not gripping. He's just continuing to work. And as the game starts to slow down, we'll see improvements in what he's seeing in the passing windows, his decision-making. The shooting, though, that's just going to take some time. He's not a good shooter. He wasn't in the G League. He's not right now. That's going to require work on his part to get better in that department. But the assist numbers should continue to climb as he gets a better feel for the game and things start to slow down and a better understanding of his teammates as well. Again, Scoot, just like Ayton, just like Coach Billups or anyone else on the roster, all a victim of the same things, just lack of continuity, lack of understanding of one another, and they're working through trying to figure out what they're doing on both ends. So it's up to Coach Billups and his staff to continue to teach and work with these guys to get them up to speed. Once again, Brooke Olzendam in the locker room after the game with Scoot Henderson. Let's take a listen to the youngster and see what he has to say after the Blazers get their first win of the year, 99-91 over the Raptors in Toronto.
For the first one, though, it feels great, kind of give us that image of what we have to do in being able to win. We obviously know we got a ton of things to still work on. We're still building chemistry. But, first one, it's always good.
A lot of your teammates just said they think this was your best game yet. Do you agree?
Yeah, but far from who I am, though, still. It was my best game because, I set the standard of what my early games was, but I think I've just grown a lot from those games, and I'm ready to hit the road running now. So,
when you say it's not to your standard, what are a few things you personally would like to shore up moving forward?
Less turnovers, just better communication on offense at least, knowing where my teammates like the ball, how I can still contribute in that form. Seeing those kick passes to the corner every single time, I usually hit those, and but lately I've just been struggling to try to get that over there. But I feel my rhythm to kind of get there, so I'm just ready for next game for real.
In general, how would you feel like this first week has gone for? And I think it feels like it's been longer than that, but it has only been a week.
It's been a week, bro. Damn. Dang. Man, the beginning of something special. It's always downs and ups and downs or whatever, and the beginning of a long season. My first year, so. But, this week has been huge mentally for me, knowing that I had a lot of buzz or whatever, but I never really kind of looked at it that way. I never paid attention to whatever the media is saying about how I was playing the first few games. I just focused on, film and getting better, My expectations for myself was already at a high standard, so I can only imagine what everybody else is trying to think of me, so I really don't care what anybody on the outside says. As long as everybody in here knows that I'm trying to get better for each other, for them, that's all. I'm good. I can go to sleep at night. So.
You did just kind of mention, I know you're not really paying attention to it, but do you feel it at all, or do you kind of feel like it's out there a little bit? Because you're right. Like, I think people have really high expectations for you, and it's not like you've been playing bad, but maybe just not what people thought right off the jump. So
yeah, it's not what I thought either. Something new for me. I never went through something like this, but I'm ready. I'm ready now. I can tell, Portland, I know I'm ready to go now. I was ready before, but, it was just some unexpected things that I had to get right quick. And I'm glad it happened now before, some people say the rookie wall or whatever, so I can, just burst through that and just get the season going now. This is the start of the season, in my book, so.
Can we talk a little bit more about your game tonight? It seemed like, particularly in that third quarter, I think you had 4 or 5 assists in the third quarter alone, and it just seems like almost quarter to quarter, like you can see that you're I don't know, figuring things out, but it seems like it's coming easy.
Yeah, that's how I see the game, one quarter at a time. I missed a lot of shots, a lot of just open shots I know I can make, but I'm always just trying to focus on the next shot, next possession, whether that's on defense, trying to get a stop on my defender, or while I'm defending, or just trying to move the ball, trying to get in the paint and attack, do what I do, and spray, get my team going. As a point guard should, and player I want to be, that's somebody I want to be, somebody that's attacking and looking out for my teammates, trying to get them the ball in certain spots, and also just doing what I let her do. But yeah.
Malcolm had mentioned that you felt like in tonight's game that you really kind of picked your spots a bit. Like, I'm going to distribute now. I'm going to maybe try to get my own now. What has that processing been like for you as you've gone through these first 4 games?
Just locking in on the film, locking in on just being myself for real. Like, I got game, so I'm just go out there and try to be myself every single night. Knowing that I had to get in the night, even though that wasn't really me. A lot of people might think, damn, okay, this is a good game, but I'm thinking that it's like, first win, that's all I'm thinking about. I'm not thinking about good game, bad game. I'm thinking first win, just trying to get better as a team, build chemistry. But like you said, quarter by quarter, me and Poole telling me just quarter by quarter, so.
You talked about the win, too. How important is it for a young team to get some stuff to feel good about? Because I think, even though you guys know that you're young, you're going to have to go through it a little bit, like, to see the actual results of that work, it's got to feel good.
Yeah, it definitely feels good. I could tell the locker room vibes are just smoother. They were smooth at first, but losses can really just affect team's confidence. And I think for us, every time we've lost this season, which was three times. We always focus on the next game, how we can do it, how we can do things we didn't do good in the last game or the next game. So as a young team, I think we are very focused on next game mentality. And that's going to be huge for this season for us, especially just being a young team or whatever.
You guys kind of bounce back a little bit. Second half.
There you go. Love Scoot Henderson. I mean, Burkhardt, do you hear that? That's not a guy that's panicked right now. No. 1 quarter at a time. Love that.
Another one, similar to what we said about DeAndre, how the way he talked just sounded so different to what, the narrative around him was. This is another one that, like, you piped in my ear, and you have to kind of pinch yourself like, dude, this is a 19, 20-year-old, like, going out there talking like this. Like, there's some leadership in there that you cannot teach, which is really, really impressive. And, yeah, if people get mad because he doesn't shoot the ball like the guy before him, I don't know if anybody would, but hey, that's not his game. Just know his game and watch it progress. It's going to be fun.
There's a new study out that says sports enthusiasts in Oregon experience the least stress while watching an important game, as revealed by research from the sports platform, The Grueling Truth. Oregonians report a stress level of only 2.5 on a 10-point scale. Well, based on what I've seen on social media, I don't know if that number's accurate. They should have asked him a specific question about Scoot. No, he's going to be fine. He's going to be fine. But the guy is supremely confident. And that's what he should do. Who cares what anyone else says right now? It's 4 games.
I hate to be that guy, Chad, because I thought what Dabo said, fighting with a fan, was corny at best. Just ridiculous. Like, you don't have to defend yourself to that guy, right? But his point about appreciation, I think, is a thing, because, like, certain fans, like even Blazer fan right now, all mad at the Scoot thing, the this, that. There was once a time where you were front page news everywhere because you were 20 straight years in the playoffs, one of the most consistent franchises in all of sports. It was playoffs every single year. And now you're just in technically like year 1.5 of a rebuild, because the first year of this, there was no intention to tank until the wheels fell off. But this is,
I don't think I've seen 1.5. I think we're 4 games in to a brand new rebuild.
Yeah. And so it's interesting, a little bit of that, like, to just, I think maybe to be fair, when you do run that absolute train of consistency, this is a feeling you're not used to, right? But hey, I'm a Niner fan. I lived through the years of Ken Dorsey is our starting quarterback. Oh, we won, what, 2 games? What, 0? What? Okay, yeah. Understand that sometimes you just got to take your lumps.
Yeah. Maybe this is why the Sixers were smart for coming out with an entire mantra, trust the process. Maybe the Blazers would have been better off just coming out and saying, hey, we're choosing a pathway. We're going to rebuild from the ground up. It's going to take some time, but we have a plan, and we're going to get there with acquisition of talent, assets. We're going to draft, we're going to develop, and we're going to get to where we want to be. Be open and honest with your fans so they understand what to expect. Because when you're not and they see something that's not reality, they get pissed. Nothing wrong with being honest. We're rebuilding from the ground up. But everyone's afraid to say that, because there's negative connotations with, I guess, the word rebuild. And anytime you say rebuild, everyone thinks tank. They're not tanking this year. They're just naturally going to lose games and get into a proper drafting position. That's all. That's all. There's nothing wrong with that.
It's just Northwest sports fans. I guess they're just upset because the Blazers' outlook right now is they're probably going to win less than 54% of their games.
Yeah, it could be worse. You could be Mariner fans.
You could have Dipoto, who said one of the most fan base related tone deaf comments a GM's ever made.
And that was condescending too. We're doing you a favor.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I got your favor right here, Dipoto.
That's like when a NFL team hangs up like the appeared in the championship game banner. Wasn't that the Colts who did that? Like that's what that is right there. Like, hey, didn't make playoffs, but 54% was the goal.
Hey, we were in the AFC Championship game. Good for us. Yay. All right, we'll keep things rolling. We'll come back, give you a scoreboard report, and let you know what's coming up in the association. You want to jump on board and have a chit chat with me? You can do so 503-248-0620. Blazers, Pistons at 4, and then they're back home on Friday for a matchup against the Grizzlies. And all of it's going to be right here on 620 Rip City Radio, your home of the Blazers. All right, here's what's coming up in the association. Your Portland Trailblazers are on the road in Detroit to take on the Pistons. Tip-off at 4, and right now, Detroit favored by 4.5. At 4 o'clock up in Toronto, the Bucks and Raptors. Milwaukee favored by 4.5. Giannis averaging 27, 10 to go along with nearly 3 assists. 4:30 In Atlanta, the Wizards and Hawks. Atlanta favored by 8.5. Dejounte Murray having a great start to the year, 21 points, 4 boards, and 5 assists. 4:30 in Boston, Pacers and Celtics. Boston favored by 11.5. Jason Tatum on fire, 29 points, 8 boards, 4 assists. In Miami at 4:30, it's the Nets and Heat. Brooklyn at 1-2, Miami at 1-3. The Heat are favored by 6.5. Tyler Hero, the great Tyler Hero, averaging 25 points, 5 boards, and 4 assists. 4:30 in New York. Cavaliers and Knicks. New York favored by 6.5. Jalen Brunson, 19 points per game. 4:30 on ESPN. Pelicans and OKC to take on the Thunder. New Orleans at 2-1. OKC at 3-1. Oklahoma City favored by 3.5. Brandon Ingram right now, 22 points per game. Shea Gilgeous, like usual, crushing 26.7 boards and 6 assists. 5 o'clock in Houston, Hornets and Rockets. Houston favored by 2.5. 5 o'clock tip in Minnesota. The 4-0 defending champ Denver Nuggets taking on the Timberwolves. Denver favored by 2.5. Jokic, 26 points, 12 boards, 8 assists per game. 5:30 in Dallas. Bulls and Mavericks. Dallas favored by 4.5. Luka, 39 points, 11 boards, and 9 assists. In Utah at 6. Grizzlies and Jazz. Utah favored by 2.5. Desmond Bane chiming in at 25 points per game. Lauri Markkanen, 25 points and 9 boards. 7 o'clock tip in San Francisco. Kings and Warriors. Golden State 3-1. Sacramento 2-1. Golden State favored by 7.5. Sabonis averaging 17 points and 15 boards. Steph Curry, 33 points per game. And the second half of the ESPN doubleheader in Los Angeles, the Clippers and Lakers. And right now, the Lakers favored by 3.5. Paul George, 27 points per game, and Anthony Davis chiming in at a double-double, 25 points and 13 rebounds. And that is your scoreboard report. Let's go out to CC in Portland. CC, appreciate the phone call. You're up on the Blazers Game Day. What's up?
Nothing much. I just had to call in. I know it's early in the season, but I really do need to talk about Chauncey. I really, as much, as I like him, I really don't think he's the person for this type of job in the rebuild.
Yeah.
I know he's a former guard and all, but it's clear that he's over his head. We have talent on this team, veteran talent with Brogdon and Aiden and others that we can build around with Scoot and those guys. And a girlfriend of mine I was talking to, she had mentioned the other day Doc Rivers, and it was just like, wow, I didn't even think about Doc, but we need somebody just like how Pop is with Wemby. We need somebody with an experience of building culture, building team, putting pieces together to lead this transition, not somebody who's still really learning the job himself after 3 years of having to redo the team with Chauncey. It's like, I don't think he's really ready or has the skill for this job. And I really do think we need to rethink that. And, I know they're probably not going to make a move, but I just kind of want to put it out there and see what you think.
I agree. And let me ask you a question, CC. Like, here's my biggest problem, and I'll ask you the same question. When you watch Blazer games right now, do you, I don't feel like I have any idea of what he's trying to get those guys to do. Do you see the same thing?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Same thing. And my girlfriend was saying the same thing. It's like, and you look at even San Antonio. I mean, they look better than what we are, and we have more veteran presence than they do. We have veteran pieces to make this team between Grant and Aiden and Brogdon and the other people we got, plus the newer people and Anthony. We shouldn't look like worse than San Antonio. We shouldn't look the way we do. And I think it's because of Chauncey. I really do. He doesn't know what he's doing. Say whatever you want. We need an experienced coach. And my girlfriend said, hey, what about Doc Rivers? You know what? I didn't even think about Doc. He'd be perfect for Portland.
Yeah, Doc.
I just want to get the campaign started.
Well, I'm with you. And I think you're not the only one. There are a lot of people that have concerns there. And my biggest concern would be this, and I think it kind of falls in line with what you're talking about. When you get a youngster like Scoot who has a chance to be great, I don't want him to develop bad habits from a coach that's disorganized. That scares me.
Exactly. Yep.
Huh.
And we don't have to worry about that with Wemby and Pop. With Scoot, and you see them out there, the whole team looks lost. And with the veteran presence that they have, they shouldn't have to look so bad because they have people there who are experienced players. They look like the worst team in the league. They look like a JV team to me, really.
Well,
I hate to say it, but they do.
No,
and I'm a Blazer fan.
I'm with you 100%. But here's the good news. He's in year
What?
3 of a 5-year deal. The 5th year is not fully guaranteed, and they're not paying him a ton of money. So it would not cost them a lot to get out of that contract. Plus, the current general manager, Joe Cronin, did not hire Chauncey Billups. He was hired by Neil Olshey. GMs that kind of like to have their own guy in there. And I think the biggest thing to watch, because he's already got over 100 losses on his record because of the 2 tank seasons, but I think if we continue to see struggles with Scoot more so than what people anticipated, I think as we get later in the year, I wouldn't be surprised if they made a move.
I hope they do. I really do. I think that would be the best team for the league because I think for the league because I really do think for the team rather because I do think they have some potential to play better under better leadership, and I just can't see them getting better because even last year and the other times that Chauncey was coaching, I didn't really see a lot from him as far as how he had the team moving and organizing. It was just kind of like the will of Dame and the other players, just kind of doing their thing. But I think with better leadership and better coaching and strategy from an experienced coach like Doc, I mean, he has his issues, but for a young team, him or, think of people like Larry Brown, those type of people, Pop, those are the people that can take a young team like this and turn them around, and then later somebody else can come in and take over.
Well, Cece, it sounds like you've got a good feel for this team. So keep spreading the word. And I'm with you.
Will.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm with you. I want Scoot to have the best coaching. Not only him, but Shaden. And man, when you've got a young team like it's on the coaching staff to lay the foundation. And the biggest thing I'm going to watch over the next few weeks is are the coaches getting them to play the way that they want them to? So far, no. And it's pretty obvious. So we got to pay attention to that. But I'm with you 100%.
No.
Yes, I agree.
It's a resounding no. So listeners out there, let's get the Hire Doc campaign going.
All right, CC, I appreciate it. You're welcome anytime.
Thank you.
All right, CC, setting everyone straight on Coach Billups. I like it. Okay, here's what we're going to do. 503-248-0620. If you're on hold, Dee and Jackie, stay there. We'll come back and take your phone calls. It's game day. Tip-off is coming up at 4. Chris Burkhardt's here. Chad Doing is here. We'll get more of your phone calls when we come back. And we still have the Coors Light Cold Hard Facts and keys to the game that we'll get to. But your phone calls are up next. 503-248-0620 here on 620 Rip City Radio.
Scoot, you took
Hey, does anyone know if Scoot's mother is named Cece? Is that possible? And that was a great phone call from Cece. I wonder if there's relation there to Scoot Henderson. Cece expressing her concern about the lack of coaching and direction from Coach Billups. She's not the only one that feels that way. It's just hard to look at the team right now and be like, wait, what's going on here? What are they trying to accomplish? And we'll see. We'll see. But with the youth and the rebuild, you just can't hold on to a guy for too long. So if it's not going to work, if we don't see dramatic improvement, in particular from Scoot, then, you got to move on. Period. And get the right coach and find the right guy that can lay this foundation and get these guys where you want them to be. Let's go out to the phones. It's Game Day. Chad Doing Chris Burkhardt. 503-248-0620. We are with you up until 3 o'clock. And then Mike Lynch takes over with your Trailblazer pregame show as the Blazers get ready for this action in Detroit against the Pistons. Let's grab D, who's in Portland. My brother, what's going on, D? Fire away.
Hey, Chad and Godfather. I know you're not here today.
That's right.
Blazer fans, you guys got to calm down. These 2 years, they're going to be down, up, down, up. Most important thing is lose a whole bunch, but make sure you see growth from Scoot and the young guys, because you want those high picks, because when Jody sells the team, that's when this team's going to take off. Chad, one thing that is concerning me, man, the coaching. I don't want Scoot to develop bad habits. He's a young guy. Blazer fans, you guys got to realize when we drafted Lillard, he was 3 years in college. That's why he was so seasoned already. But that's the thing that kind of concerns me, seeing, Brandon Miller. Brandon Miller's the same age pretty much. He might be a little bit older, but not much. Wemby doing good. Scoot's struggling right now, but that's okay. I just don't want the coaching staff to, have them develop bad habits, like I said. Chad, thank you as always, man. You're the greatest. You always let me rant. Come on here when I'm angry, happy, whatever. I hope you and the family and everyone on the radio station is doing good, man. Thank you so much.
You got it, D. I appreciate that. There's D in Portland. Yeah, I don't want Scoot to develop bad habits either. They need to make sure that he is on the right path. Duke, the UPS driver, just blowing up my phone right now. Here is Duke. He says, people just need to leave Chauncey alone and let him develop like the players. We got enough Rivers without Doc Rivers crying. I wouldn't even imagine how upset I'd be if I saw Doc Rivers on the Blazers sideline throwing fits, going through his antics. HE double hockey sticks. No. I can't even believe you would entertain the thought of hiring Doc Rivers. What is wrong with Mr. Doing? I am very disappointed in you. I could never go through Doc Rivers' press conference after every game. Heck no. I hate him and his spoiled little brat son, even though he went to Duke. All right, so there you go. He is fired up right now. Now, I never said that I would entertain hiring Doc Rivers, but I was with CC on entertaining the idea of bringing in a guy who would be able to do a good job. Now, Doc is a good coach. I know that he's very beloved by players across the league. He does whine a lot. He does yell a lot. I don't understand why his face is so oily, probably because he yells all the time. But, yeah, he's won a championship. So no, they're not going to hire Doc Rivers. But if Chauncey continues to struggle and we don't see Scoot moving in the right direction, they're not going to sit around and just hang on to Chauncey forever. That's not going to happen. He was not hired by the current general manager. And the contract would be easy to get out of. The fifth year of Chauncey's deal is not fully guaranteed, based on my understanding. Yeah. We'll see. Like I said, Chauncey, the first 2 years, not a fair evaluation. We're only 4 games in to this season. Let's wait and C. I have my concerns like CC, but let's see how things continue to play out over the next couple of months, particularly with Sharp and Scoot. Let's go to Mike, who's in North Portland. Mike, welcome to Game Day. What's on your mind?
So let me just first say how rad it is tonight to see the Pistons and Blazers play. I don't know why everyone's like, I mean, it's raining outside, we could be doing a whole lot of, nothing else right now because that's just our life in the Pacific Northwest. Look at all this young draft talent we get to see tonight. We get to see Cade Cunningham, Jalen Duren. We get to see Sir Thompson versus all of our young guys. That's what I'm really looking at. I really don't care who wins the game. I don't think Detroit fans or Blazer fans care who really wins this game. Let's see development. Let's see exciting young play. Let's see a lot of good development, good stats. Let's see Scoot develop that court vision. Let's see him develop that consistent lob up to Shaden Sharp every night. I'm excited for that. And I've got to say, I just bought tickets for the Wemby matchups. Wemby's coming around Christmas for a back-to-back, and that's going to be a fun matchup too. The mantra for this season should be develop, develop, develop. And as far as Chauncey, just real quick before I get off, I'm half with you and half against you here, Chad. I think it's a put up or shut up kind of season for him. He needs to show us on paper how he developed Scoot Henderson this year, how he continued Shaden Sharp's development this year. If we can't see it by the end of the year, then yeah, it's really time to go and give Tom Thibodeau whatever he wants. Thanks. Bye.
Whoa, Tom Thibodeau? What, do you hate Scoot and Shaden? Thibodeau crazy. Thibodeau's a great defensive mind, but he grinds on guys to the point where he doesn't care if they're hurt or what the deal is. He'll just play them until they drop dead.
Tell you what would realistically happen is, say it's the midway point of the season and you part ways. It's half a season for Scotty Brooks to earn the job. That's what it is. And if he can't earn the job in that half season, then you hit the open market. But
well, I'm confident that Scotty could probably do a better job than his head coach.
I think he does a very good job of not stepping on the head coach's toes because he knows he wouldn't want his assistants to do that to him.
I never hear a peep from
But I
him.
think Scotty Brooks is a good coach, and look what he did in OKC. He had those three guys together at one point. I mean, he was one of the best coaches. You got the most out of Russ. Like the dude's, he's good. He's a good coach.
He's a good coach. Let's go to Jackie Sherwood. Jackie, appreciate the phone call. You are up on Game Day. What's on your mind? Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, hey, Chad.
Hi.
Hi. Happy Wednesday. Sorry, my bad.
That's okay. What's going on?
I just wanted to extrapolate a little on a point that Dee made about the direction of the team and the upper management, and I'm sure you've touched on this before. I know Paul Allen asked to have the team sold. What are we waiting for with Bert and Jody? The TV money, or when does that come? What are your thoughts?
Okay, I'll share my thoughts, Jackie. I think what's going on here is this is what I've been told. One, I do believe that they want to wait until that new TV deal is in place because once it is, the value of the franchise, along with all other franchises, is going to increase. So I think that's part of it. I also think that there is part where they're still unraveling all of the holdings of Paul Allen. When you're super rich like Paul was, you have a lot of different things around the world. Homes, businesses, art collections, all of these different things. So you've got to untangle that web. And then I don't think Bert Cold's in a hurry to push the sale of the team because he's living his fantasy world right now of being Paul and making decisions and running the basketball side. Now, he's loving it. He is living out his dream of replacing Paul and now running and making decisions for the Trailblazers.
You ever have to stop at a Hertz and rent a car on the company dime? And like you sit there and you see that Corvette and you really want to do it, but the company would much rather you rent like the Nissan Altima, $100
or the Toyota,
versus $500 a day or whatever. What happened here is Bert Cold got to rent the Corvette on the company dime, And he kept it a little longer than the rent date, so they're gonna have to pay extra money. But he's in no rush to get back to that Hertz parking lot until Hertz calls and says, "Okay, we're sending the police. If you don't come in, okay, I'll come return the car." That's what he's doing right now. He's driving in the vet, not wanting to give the keys back.
Yeah, there's no question. So I think Bert is enjoying himself right now. And that's just part of the process. I think the other thing, too, is maybe Jody is showing a little stubbornness. You know, that hit piece that came out in the New York Post last year, it came out in the New York Post. Where's the NBA offices located? New York. It's quite possible. It's very odd to see a random piece on Jody Allen, who never says a word publicly, come out in the New York Post. What I think happened there is that the NBA, from my understanding, they want Phil Knight to own the team for a variety of different reasons. So you put out the hit piece, you try to crank up some of the pressure. From my understanding, Jody was furious at that piece when it came out because it referenced the, all the goodies. Giraffe bones, penguin skulls, security guards in European cut swim trunks being asked to put on a fashion show. All the things that you don't want out in the public. So she could be slow playing it a bit just to give the middle finger to the league office. That's possible. But the biggest thing she's got to accomplish is to get the biggest dollar amount as the trust holder. And just remember, when people say the Blazers have an owner right now, they don't. That you need to understand that she is not the owner of the team. She is in charge of the trust. So this team right now is functioning without an owner. I'm a Denver Bronco fan. They ran and were operated by a trust for an extended period of time. It's not ideal. They need to sell. They will. But this is primarily about dollars. And once that new TV deal goes into effect and the franchise goes up in value, then they can crank up the asking price and force, Phil and his crew to pay a little bit more than maybe what they had anticipated. And I agree with everyone else. Yes, we need them. We need the team in different hands. We need the team in the hands of an owner who wants to win and, more importantly, knows how to surround themselves with people that know how to win, and that's the main focus. That's it. I love Paul Allen, and I always will, because he wanted to win, and even if he made bad decisions, his heart was in the right place, and the dude rolled around with his checkbook willing to spend what was ever necessary to get the job done. So, big fan of Paul. Jody, she's not the owner. She is in charge of the trust. And Bert is the what's the name of that dude in that movie? He's like the Wizard of Oz. He's the man behind the curtain who's operating things, pulling all the strings, but with no accountability. And then they throw out Hankins and Cronin and Billups to answer all the questions. It's like the perfect gig. I get to do what I want, make the decisions, and no one's ever going to ask me a darn thing. Who doesn't want that job? I'm still waiting for Jody to talk publicly for the first time, too. And what was cool about Paul is that he would come down every year and hold a State of the Union in one of the ancillary locker rooms at Moda Center. Genius. Absolutely genius. Let's go back out to the phones. West Lynn. Paul. What's up, Paul? You're on Game Day. Fire away.
What's up, my friend? I just want to disagree with some of your previous callers. I don't think the coaches need to develop point guards. It's not like the NFL, where they got a quarterback is drafted to sit on the bench for 4 years and learn under a veteran. You go back 40 years, all the great point guards were great when they came out. Magic, Isaiah, Stockton, recently Kyrie, Lillard. Point guards are who they are. A coach is not going to develop them. 5 years later, we got an all-star point guard. That's just not a thing in the NBA. So that's where I'll disagree with the coach's role in developing a point guard.
Okay, so are you saying that Scoot is not a good point guard then?
I'm not saying that, but I don't think the coach is going to develop him and 5 years later he's going to be a different player. It seems to me that you kind of get what you get when you're drafting point guards. I'm hard-pressed to think of a player that –
How about Tony Parker?
Wasn't great to begin with. I was just going to say Tony Parker, but he didn't sit on the bench long, right? He came from France, and then
he struggled early, and coach brought him along and taught him, and he eventually turned into a remarkable point guard for that franchise.
From your hated Greg Popovich, right? You can't hate on that guy. He's
No,
phenomenal.
I can't hate on the guy. He's a grumpy loser who needs to shut his pie hole. Yeah, I acknowledge. I acknowledge that he's a good coach, but yeah, I don't like his act. It's tired, man. It's like quit acting grumpy. You make millions, and you're having the best life. There's no reason to being grumpy all the time. And you haven't had to deal with him in a post-game locker room either.
No.
I have. It's like, come on, Pop, lighten up, brother. I can hate on whoever I want. I don't like Pop. He's a grump. Yeah, I know he's won championships. So what? That doesn't give him a right to be an a-hole all the time. Just because you have rings doesn't mean it does not give you carte blanche to walk around and be a grumpy a-hole. Okay? Screw Pop. And I hate him for getting Wembanyama. The guy's like the luckiest grandpa alive. Screw him. Gosh, he got freaking Tim Duncan, and then he gets Wemby. I hate that. Whatever. He's just like Bill Belichick. Thankfully, Tim Duncan, he's just fortunate he had great players. The same thing with Belichick. He had Tom Brady, who made him. All right? Tim Duncan, David Robinson, and Manu, and now Wemby are making Pop. All right, we'll keep things rolling on game day. Thanks for the phone call, Paul. Appreciate that. Tip-off's coming up at 4. All right, I'll get to more on Paul's call here in just a moment. This idea that you can't develop a point guard. But with your Coors Light cold hard facts, number one, the two biggest guys that no one's talking about on the Trailblazer roster right now are Tamani Kamara and Jabari Walker. Their energy and their effort and the way that they're flying around on the court on both ends is much needed. And those two guys can really set a tone for this team in terms of how they need to play. In these close games where they have a chance to scratch out wins, which isn't going to be too often throughout the course of the season, those two guys need to continue to play with their effort, their energy, and just the willingness to do whatever it takes to win. And I like that. Those two guys are great. And props to Jabari. He put in a lot of time on his game through the offseason. We're starting to see it pay off. And for Tamani, hey, look, I don't know what he is yet, but I know he's in the right place all the time on defense. And he's one of those guys, from everything I've heard, that's working his tail off in practice. And those are the type of guys that you see on the floor in games on a more frequent basis because they're doing what is asked of them from the coaching staff, which is terrific. Outside of that, Scoot Henderson is going to be fine. He will continue to make strides. We heard from him earlier in the show. His attitude, his demeanor, his focus, his confidence is all where it needs to be. And he just needs more time on the floor. And the coaching staff has got to find ways to put him in better positions to succeed so he doesn't become a spot-up shooter. That's not his game. His game is having the ball in his hands, being a creator for his teammates. And as the game continues to slow down and he has a better feel for what's going on around him, we're going to see him make strides. So I'm not worried about Scoot Henderson whatsoever. And outside of that, your Portland Trailblazers right now are in a good spot. They have a chance to grab another win today against the Detroit Pistons. I don't know if they will or not, but it's a great opportunity for you as a young team that's learning each other, has a lot of youth, and is developing continuity. If you can grab a couple of wins on your first road trip, a little 3-game East Coast swing, that puts them in a good spot. So I like the vibe on this team. And just continue to work, even the attitude of DeAndre Ayton. That's good. It's nice when you hear guys with that type of positive perspective, understanding the situation that they're in, and you're getting veterans to step up and encourage the youngsters. And that's what Ayton was doing throughout the course of the night in Toronto with Jabari. And we heard it from Malcolm Brogdon. So that type of encouragement is what they need, and it's nice that the vets are willing to play that role to encourage the youngsters so they can go out there and continue to improve and make strides. All right, real quick on Paul's thoughts. The idea that you can't develop a point guard or teach them or coach them up, it's total nonsense. No disrespect, Paul, but there are numerous guys. John Stockton, is he the best point guard of all time? He might be. I would lean towards Magic Johnson, but let's just take John Stockton, who is one of the greatest point guards of all time. Did he start right out of the gate in his career in Utah? The answer to that question would be no. He did not. It took him a few years to really pop, and he turned out to be pretty good. Why did it take him a few years to pop? Because he needed time to grow and develop, and with the right coaching and teaching, he got there. Jason Kidd, another prime example. Kevin Johnson, another prime example. Yes, Magic Johnson is a freak, and he hit the floor just with no issues whatsoever. It took Russell Westbrook some time to pop. Most guys, it takes a bit of time, and it requires good coaching and teaching along the way to get to that point. Tony Parker was another one we mentioned. All right. When we come back, keys to the game. Chris Burkhardt, Chad doing its game day with tip-off. Blazers Pistons coming up at 4 here on 620 Rip City Radio. All right, a couple of things here. One, it's even worse than I thought it was going to be. The Blazers are the second worst three-point shooting team in the league right now. That's a problem. I would suggest making a couple of threes tonight, but I don't see that happening. I think for them tonight to have a chance, they've been one of the worst in the league, averaging over 16 turnovers per game and also committing over 22 fouls per game. Cut down on the fouls, cut down on the turnovers, and put yourself in a position to be within striking distance in the fourth, and we'll call that a victory. Burkhardt, any final thoughts before we kick it over to Trailblazer Broadcasting, my friend?
Yeah, man, just real quick, I want to just reiterate what you said. Fred VanVleet, yeah, he was terrible his first year. He averaged like 2 points. Jamal Murray, who might be one of the best point guards in the league right now, wasn't very good. Wasn't a starter his first year until, what did his coaches do? Developed him. Another player you mentioned earlier, DeJounte Murray, who's playing more shooting guard now, but still, yeah, he wasn't very good his rookie year either. You absolutely can develop these guys.
I love Murray. Murray's a fun player to watch. All right, that's going to do it for us. Good news. Chris and I are back after the game tonight with fifth quarter here on 620 Rip City Radio and streaming live on YouTube. Just go to our homepage, Rip City Radio 620, subscribe, and you'll see the link there, all right? Subscribe! As if you haven't heard that enough from all over the place in today's world. Okay, enjoy the game tonight. Mike Lynch has got your Trailblazer pregame show coming up next. And then we're back after the game, which will tip off at 4.
Let's get out of here.